Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Bowser Jr. Fan 13. I don't really got anything too crazy going on, but if you guys don't know the recent news, I guess it's best I tell you now. So, anyways, I'm pretty sure most of you know that Akira Toriyama, the creator of the Dragon Ball manga and anime series, has currently passed away at the age of 68. And man, this really hurts. I mean, this man has left off a big legacy, has created one of the most legendary shows of all time. Now, I was not a big Dragon Ball fan, at all. I was familiar with it at the time, but I think around, 2018? Somewhere in between 2018 is when I started to get a little invested into Dragon Ball out of curiosity. I wanted to check the series out because I know a lot of people, they talk about Dragon Ball all the time, and I see reference after reference, so I was sort of familiar with it. And then I started to become a die-hard fan for it. So yeah, the rest is history. But still, it's sad that Akira Toriyama has passed away. Rest in peace, man. You've left off an amazing legacy, and in honor of you, I'm going to be making a little discussion video talking about my favorite character in the Dragon Ball series, Android 17. Now, I know some of you who probably watched my top 10 favorite Dragon Ball characters video, or is watching this right now wondering, why is Android 17 out of all characters my favorite character? Well, that's what you're here to find out for now, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so before we actually get into why I love Android 17 as a character and what I like about him the most, I gotta give you a little bit of background knowledge about this character, his origins, and everything you need to know about him so far. So yeah, let's get down to it. So Android 17 made his debut in Dragon Ball Z in the Android Saga. So basically, the first time we see him, there's a special, I think it was a special episode or something like that. Yeah. So basically, it was a special episode surrounding future Trunks, because Trunks got introduced, at the beginning of the Android Saga. And basically, the whole premise is that in an alternate timeline where Trunks is from, Goku died of a heart disease, and afterwards, Android 17, alongside his twin sister, Android 18, are robotic androids created by a scientist named Dr. Gero, who was a scientist that worked for the Red Ribbon Army, one of Goku's main villains since the original Dragon Ball. So Dr. Gero created 17 and 18 with the specific purpose to help him obtain world domination and to kill Goku, but Goku's already dead. But as soon as they activate, they disobey their master and kill him in cold blood. So afterwards, the two started to go on a rampage, murdering innocent people and blowing up cities. And they were so strong, they were too powerful, the Z-Fighters could not take them down. Vegeta, Piccolo, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, Krillin, all of them got killed. And there was nobody left except for Gohan, who spent the rest of his years training until he's strong enough to try to fend off the androids, because Gohan was the last hope. Well, at the time, because when Trunks became a young teen, Gohan trained Trunks, but then he ended up dying to the androids, and Trunks afterwards, with a little bit of more training, he was ready to go back in time when Bulma made the time machine to send him back to time to give him the medicine for Goku and to warn them about the androids and stuff. So we cut to the current timeline where the current Dr. Gero, alongside Android 19, who was blown up by Vegeta, at a desperate time, he decided to activate 17 and 18 to try and kill the Z-Fighters and Goku. But just like in the future, 17 and 18 murdered Dr. Gero, and yeah. Only this time, it's not just them, because they also travel alongside another android that was also created by Dr. Gero, that being Android 16. So, they start doing the usual, going on a rampage and stuff, doing whatever they want. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think they have killed any people just yet. Probably a few bodies have been spilled, but not that I would know. But anyways, going back to 17, we do see him get into a fight with Piccolo, and the fight was pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome. But then Cell ends up coming out of nowhere because his whole end game is that he wants to absorb 17 and 18 so that he can achieve his perfect form, which he ends up doing in the process. But after Gohan has defeated Cell, they used the Dragon Balls to revive everybody, and 17 got revived after he was killed, so yeah, so afterwards he decided to spend the rest of his years as a good guy. Well, we don't really know much other than him becoming a park ranger, and we see him at the end of the Buu Saga giving off energy to Goku's Spirit Bomb whenever they needed to, like, defeat Kid Buu and stuff. So then we cut to several years later during the events of Dragon Ball Super, and oh my goodness, Android 17 has had the biggest glow up in this show. So the next time we see 17, he is dripping it out with this awesome clothes, like, my god. Toriyama, I don't know how you did it, but you made my boy look even cooler than he was in the original series, not gonna lie. Anyways, so 17, as of now, is doing pretty good for himself. He's living on this huge, giant island where he's still a park ranger, protecting all the plants and animals on this huge island that he owns, alongside being married to a wife and having a child, which good for him. He spends the rest of his time training by fighting off poachers that want to harm the environment and stuff, and yeah, you know, 17 cannot have any of that. So afterwards, Goku encounters him, and the two of them start to engage in a fight because, well, Goku wants to test his skills against 17, and because, well, they need him for the Tournament of Power, so yeah. So anyways, as the Tournament of Power has been going on, everybody's been holding off on their own. 17's just, you know, doing his thing, knocking off a bunch of fighters, usual stuff. And then afterwards, it got to the point where after Goku and Frieza sacrificed themselves to try and defeat Jiren, which they successfully do, 17 was the last fighter standing in the arena, so technically that means Universe 7 has won. So when the Super Dragon Balls appeared, 17 used his wish to revive all of the universes that were erased from existence. What a nice guy. Then he decided to go try to get some money to, like, get a cruise ship so that he can go on a cruise with his family. That's all really swell and good, so yeah, that's pretty much all for Dragon Ball Super. And that's basically it for 17's story. Well, at least that's what I would have said if not for Dragon Ball GT. Oh my god. Alright, so before Super came out, Dragon Ball GT was supposed to be a somewhat continuation of Dragon Ball Z, but because the show did so bad, Toriyama had to retcon it so that it's not canon and stuff, so whatever. Anyways, so, as I was trying to say, so in Dragon Ball GT, the next time we see 17, for some weird reason, this dude decides to become evil again, and the first thing that he does is kill Krillin. Wow, just wow, he just straight up murders Krillin right in front of 18, and I'm not gonna lie, 18 definitely had the right to be mad at 17. And then guess what? He decided he's gonna kill his own sister as well. And then he starts to fuse with this Hellfighter 17? I'm sorry, what is Hellfighter 17 anyways? Like, I do not understand this whole story. So the two of them fuse and they become Super 17. Oh my god, this design is so horrible. Like, what is this? But, so, yeah, 17 becomes Super 17, and he decides he's gonna do what he used to do and commit mass genocide, but of course it leads to Goku having to put a stop to him. And we don't see 17, or Super 17 after this, well, unless you want to count Dragon Ball Super Superheroes, where in his appearance he disguised himself as a masked android, as part of, I guess, Toa's army, if you want to say, but whatever. Look, again, I know people are some fans of Super 17, and I know there's some Android 17 fans who actually like this, but unfortunately for you guys, I'm not one of those people. But anyways, let's get back onto the subject. Let's actually talk about why I love Android 17 and why I like him as a character. Well, first off, as I said before, he had one of the coolest designs. I mean, I liked his original design in Dragon Ball Z. It was rather basic, but it looked pretty cool for at the time. Dragon Ball Super was when his design truly shined. Like, they gave him like the cleanest dripped for a Park Ranger outfit, and man, he has not looked good ever since. But I mean, I'm not saying that the original design of 17 is bad, but the Super design is definitely a huge improvement, or better yet, it's a step up to making 17 awesome. Also, I really like how strong 17 is. I mean, he's literally an android. Like, they're like designed with infinite stamina, which means they cannot get tired, and they have infinite ki. And plus, speaking of which, they have no ki energy, so which means Goku, Krillin, Vegeta, they cannot sense them. So if they're looking for 17, they're not going to know where he is because they can't sense his ki, because he has no ki, he's an android. And that's kind of cool, because if there are some Dragon Ball villains who are able to sense ki from any characters, I'd imagine 17 would have a better chance at beating these villains, because he could basically be like an undercover agent, basically like, you know, sneaking past his opponents, kind of like Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid. But anyways, other than that, I think he has also the coolest powers. I mean, he has a barrier to protect himself, just like 18 and stuff, which is pretty neat. He can also use the power of green energy that foams from his fist to like do these cool, awesome explosion punches, which is pretty neat. On top of that, he's also have some of his own unique attacks, like the Super Electro, what was it called? Super Electro Disc or Strike? It's basically this circular attack that 17 does, which I think it looks pretty badass, not gonna lie. Then I think there's this one called Hell Blaster, where he just shoots a bunch of blast, like as if like it's raining on the opponents or something like that. I think that's what it's called, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, but 17's attacks are pretty awesome, and they're pretty neat. I mean, sure, they're not as big as any of the other characters, but it sure is something. Plus, I kind of like 17's personality. I mean, when it comes to Dragon Ball characters and their personalities, most characters are usually just all flashy or just so full of energy and stuff, optimistic, or just straight up badass or prideful. 17, he differs from all those characters because most of the time he's just usually chilled out. Like, he's not over the top, or he's not like, he doesn't show too many emotions. He's just pretty chill and calm, and I kind of like that. I mean, it's a big change from most characters that you'd see in a Dragon Ball anime or manga or whatever, but still, I think 17 has the coolest personality, not only being chill. I also like how, out of any of the fighters, just like Piccolo, 17 is one of the few characters who actually takes fights seriously, because you know how Goku and Vegeta or some other characters would usually play around or watch these characters transform or let them power up so that they be even with each other or something like that? Well, what 17 did in the Tournament of Power was justice and awesome and satisfying. Because, okay, so Universe 2, which had Rinbare and her Sailor Scouts, they were basically doing these Sailor Moon style transformations, which was weird and annoying, but before they could even transform, 17 straight up attacked them in their mid-transformation. Is like, are we gonna fight or what? Because, like, oh my god. I mean, why are you just gonna let them transform, guys? I mean, don't you want to beat them or something? Like, this feels a lot like an Avatar when Azula attacked Aang in the middle of his transformation. Like, this is exactly what it reminds me of. So yeah. Some of my other favorite Android 17 moments, I mean, there isn't too many big moments that like caught me off guard or basically just left me speechless, but I guess if I have to say some of my other favorite 17 moments, I mean, I do like all of his fights. His fight against Bikal and Rimbaray, they're definitely iconic. His fight with Piccolo, like I said, is one of my favorite fights of all time. His fight against Goku is pretty awesome. I mean, I'm actually impressed that after all these years, 17 is able to keep up with Goku, even in his Super Saiyan Blue transformation, because the Super Saiyan Blue is like literally a level beyond a Super Saiyan God, and that's saying something. And the fact that 17 is able to stand against Goku while in that form is honestly impressive. Like, I am just imagining all the other overpowered or super strong fighters that are like at least next to Goku's level at that time. I wonder if 17 is able to defeat characters like them, because wow, it's so pretty cool. And plus, one thing I want to say that I would love for us to see with 17, I mean, I like for one day that we get to see 17's wife and child, because even though it says that he has a child and a wife, we don't really see them in the show like at all, or I don't think there's any manga panels that shows it, but I like to see what 17's wife and child would look like, because I'm just very curious, because I'm just feeling so happy that 17 was able to start a family just like 18 and Krillin. Okay, getting back to some of my other favorite moments. For any funny moments that made me laugh about 17, well, there isn't too many, but I guess there's this one in Dragon Ball Super where when 17 met Marin for the first time, and when you know, Marin basically asks 17 how old he was, and his answer was 17. Okay, like, alright, so to give you context, this was like in the original Japanese, this scene was like in the original Japanese translation of Dragon Ball Super, but in the American version they changed it to having 17 ask if Marin likes animals, and she asks 17 if he likes animals, and he says, yeah, I like animals, except for the humans. Like, I don't know what's up with that. Like, does 17 still have a grudge against humans or something? Or it's probably just because of the poachers or something, but still, it's just so weird and awkward, yet I can't help but smile to that. But I think that's pretty much all I have to say about 17. Overall, I think this man is a pretty awesome character. It's such a blessing to have a character that really caught me off guard. Like, I know the Saiyan characters are more interesting. I like the Saiyan characters. I like some of the other human characters. I like the characters outside of Universe 7, like some of Universe 6's fighters and Universe 11 specifically. But you can't argue that. I mean, you gotta understand that 17 overall is just one of my favorite characters that I enjoyed the most. And Toriyama, I don't know if you're listening to this video, or, I mean, when you're up there, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that if you're listening to what I'm saying, I just want to say thank you for creating this series. Thank you for so many years of Dragon Ball, and most importantly, thank you for making this awesome character that I loved all these years of being a Dragon Ball fan. You have been a great creator, and it's been an honor watching your series, man. Rest in peace. Thank you guys for watching, and good night.
Don't hold this against Super Relax.
Seriously, this isn't funny.
I learned from how you fight. Quite a lot, actually.
Android 17! Win!